Kris Mod Stuff is filmed before a live studio audience.
The cat shat on the rug. Oh, what's this? Bill. Who's Bill? And why am I getting his mail?
Dear Kris, I really enjoy your YouTube videos. Please restore G1 Darkwing or I will firebomb your house. Cheers, a person.
Well, can't say fairer than that.
So this is G1 Darkwing. I picked up this particular toy at I think the last auto assembly or maybe the first TF Nation. It's in a pretty bad way. The cockpit doesn't stay up on the back, the power master mechanism is completely balked, the head doesn't come out of the torso anymore. The sticker wear is quite bad in it. The legs are really stiff and don't slide on the runners very well. Yeah, basically the whole thing's in a really crummy way. You can see there the head mechanism doesn't work whatsoever, and just getting the legs to go back into the torso is a real task. The jet mode itself is not too bad. The fins are a bit loose. There's only one gun, which is a bit of a bummer, and I cannot get the engine out of the jet mode. It's in there tight. I don't quite know why, but I can't get it to shift. The rubber on the nose cone, I can't do much about that. That's also quite chewed up, but not too bad. But yeah, but that Power Master engine, he ain't moving. That's in there. So that's a bit of a bummer. So I'm hoping that when I disassemble it, that should release that a little bit. So, disassembly. I'm going to start off just taking the legs apart and disassembling those, getting the various parts of the feet and the ankles out of the way, and doing the same for the other leg as well. Once I've got these cleaned up and removed any gunk and stuff from the runners, hopefully that should smooth it up a little bit and make the transformation a little bit easier. There we go. Next is a matter of just removing the arms. Not much to take apart in terms of the arm mechanisms here, they're fairly straightforward. And then just got to keep the springs and the ratchets safe. And then it's just a matter of taking apart the lower arms and removing the hands. The hands are shared with Dreadwind, so there's a bit of parts reuse there, so that's obviously a good way of saving some money on Hasbro's point of view. And now it's a matter of taking the cockpit to bits. So this isn't too bad. The cockpit nose cone, that's seen better days, but I can't do much about that unless I get a replacement somewhere. The cockpit window comes out straightforwardly enough, and it's just a matter of removing the other bits and bobs from the cockpit itself. Now it's time to get the backpack itself disassembled. You can already see there's some scuff marks in the back there where this has been put through its paces over the years. And I still can't get the Power Master engine out, so I'm going to take apart the engine itself. Hopefully with some bits removed I can get it off. There we go. He's quite tight, but he's in good condition for the most part. And there's the Power Master mechanism, the spring underneath there, and you can see there's one screw holding it together which doesn't fit this screwdriver. So there we are with the correct screwdriver. I can now take that screw out of the backpack, and you can see there's some scoring from the damage to this thing, and there's damage to the back of the torso. There's some stress marks on there. As soon as I get the torso disassembled, we can see what kind of state the inside of it is in. You can see there's some damage to the runner on the back, and then there's a peg that's completely missing from the head block. That missing peg is what forces the head to go up to the body when you transform him. So there's his little Peter Weller style face. And just going to take the hips and the ratchets off here, and once those are cleaned they should go a little smoothly. The backpack. This is how the Power Master mechanism works. This track runs along the back, and then when you rotate the torso, a runner goes through his, well, where his spine would be, I guess. And you can see that gap is where that peg would normally fit in, and as you turn the torso, that gap moves and retracts the head back into the torso. So clearly somebody has forced this over the years and damaged it or broken that peg off, and it no longer does that, so that's why the head doesn't pop out. We need to fix that peg and find something that'll replace it on the head of this guy. It's quite a clever design, because even if you go the other way, it'll transform both ways, so that's quite nice. Now I was hoping that like a 5mm socket or a 5mm peg would work, but I've got a feeling that those will be a little bit too big. Right, it's sticker removal time. So I've got the old lighter fluid again, and just going to outline all these stickers with the fluid and let that sink in for a bit, and that should take those bits of sticker residue and loosen them a little bit. You can see that the sticker wear is quite bad on these things anyway, so I'm not even going to try and preserve anything from these. Plus a lot of the stickers have been put on in the wrong place anyway, and I'm just going to get these taken off here, and then use a little bit more lighter fluid and a bit of elbow grease to just get the last of the residue off there as well. And then I'm going to use an antibacterial wipe after I've got the rest of the residue off there, just to lighten everything up and get everything nicely cleaned and ready for future stickers to be applied. I had a hell of a time getting the sticker residue off the cockpit canopy, so that's not brilliant, but I've given it the best shot I could. So now it's the first part of the cleaning. So I'm going to kick off with the legs, using the old antibacterial wipes again. Just going to go through all the different leg components, give them all a good solid clean out, and hopefully once this is all done, the legs should run along the runners a little smoother, and making the transformation of the legs and the thighs a little bit simpler. And the same for the feet and the ankle components too. So now they're cleaned, I'm going to just put these bad boys back together, put the landing gear wheels in there as well, get the old legs reassembled, and already I can feel that they are much smoother. Reassembly there, putting the thighs back together, doing the same for both legs. Getting the ratchets back in place as well. Be careful not to lose those, because those are still loose for quite a while. Oops, there we are. I managed to get the feet on the wrong way just briefly, but I fixed that now. And then there we go, the legs are now ready to be fully attached back to the torso once we get the torso working again. More cleaning, this time on the arms, doing the upper arms and the lower arms and then the fists. Not too much to clean on here, thank God, and there wasn't much gunk on them, so they're in fairly good shape. Some rust around the spring from the shoulder ratchets, but not too bad. So now it's just going to reassemble the arms. Really straightforward reassembly job, getting the screws back in there, getting the ratchets back in place in the shoulders, and those are ready to be placed back on the torso, again, once the torso is all fully repaired. So, more cleaning. This time it's the Power Master engine, going to give him a good once over, and then a quick reassembly. Only a small figure, so nice and straightforward. And he's in pretty good shape, certainly in better condition than the Dreadwing one. And then there's the Power Master mechanism and the cockpit. Going to give those a good once over. there's the fin that gets used in the combined mode, that just sits in the cockpit disassembly. Got the cone back on there as well. There's some chew marks on the head, but I can't really fix that. We get the torso all clean, get all the gunk out of there, all the dust, so that should hopefully smooth up the running of the mechanism as well. I'm going to try and clean this off the back piece as well, try and get rid of some of the scoring on there, and give the gun a once over. So I'm going to start off by putting the cockpit back together. Fairly straightforward, but that latch there is quite loose. So to try and counter that, I'm going to fill it with some folded up cardboard. Going to cut that to size, and then that extra little bit of cardboard pushing against that clasp should give it a bit more friction and tighten it up a little bit. And that way, when he's in robot mode, the cockpit should line up nicely against his back. Oh, hello, cat. Right, okay, back to business. So, just going to get the rest of the arms put back onto the wing piece here. Nice and simple, straightforward. Get the ratchets back in there. So, now it's time to fix that broken mechanism that raises the head out of the torso. I've got a Titans Returns Brawn figure here, which I'm going to sacrifice because I got plans for him later anyway. And that little nub on the cannon bit there, that'll actually fit perfectly into the missing section on the back of the head. I did think that the 5mm tabs would fit in there, but they don't, they're just too big. And I could Dremel it down, but it won't be smooth, it won't be circular, and it won't run very well on the track. Whereas this actually runs perfectly. So there we go, you see that runs nicely around there. So I need to get that Dremeled off that piece, and then with some precision work, just going to cut into that there. There we are, perfect. So I was going to glue the little piece onto the back of the head, but instead we're going to punch a hole through the back of the neck bit using the Dremel again. And once that hole is drilled through, just going to widen it slightly, just so it's big enough to put that new peg into, and then we're going to glue that peg into place, and that should give it a much more secure footing. And at the same time I'll try not to pierce my palm or something stupid like that. So it doesn't quite go straight away, so just going to widen that a little bit more using the drill bit. Once that's widened, then we can get that glued into place. So the last thing to do is just Dremel down some of the damaged areas on the back plate. And now that should run nice and smoothly. That's not too bad. And now it's time for the moment of truth. Hey, hi fella, there we go, excellent. So that's working okay. I think that'll be quite a secure joint, and that should hold quite nicely. Okay, so now it's just a matter of putting the torso back together and getting the ratcheted hips back in place, getting the screws in place to hold the torso there, making sure that it's not too tight so that the runner doesn't stop. That seems to be going okay. The legs now transform much more fluidly and much more smoothly, and it's just a matter of getting that backpack placed together. Now with the Power Master mechanism, I'm going to put a little bit of masking tape across the top of it because it holds the two rear fins in tightly. So if I put a bit of masking tape on that, it should just make that a little bit more sturdy, and it'll just apply a bit more pressure to it and keep those fins nice and tight and in place. So again, real simple, just literally just put some masking tape across the top, and the rest of the mechanism should work just fine. I've got the cockpit back in place, got the springs back in there as well, and this should make for a much more tighter mechanism that's working and seems to be nice and smooth. There we are. Getting the screws back in place there. Nice and simple. And it works perfectly fine. And the backpack is nice and secure. And the head now rotates up into the proper robot mode. So that's working really well. And finally, I've got my repro labels from Toy Hacks. Just put those in place. As usual with the G1 stickers, they do tend to obscure some rather nice moulded details, but hey, what are you going to do? So I've got those in place there now, just going to tweezer those on, do the eject mode stuff. I still couldn't quite clean the canopy as well as I'd like, but it'll do. And these very awkward wing stickers are now in place as well. And that's him just about done. And there we are. Still a little bit knackered in places, mainly the front of the jet and a couple of bits of scuff wear here and there, and there's only one gun, of course. I'll have to try and find a replacement on eBay or something for that. But otherwise, I'm very happy with this restoration. It's worked out quite nicely, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Also, I waited 30 years to have these two together. Oh, look at that. Oh, very nice.